This is Deshaun Hamilton, wide receiver for the Denver Broncos, and you're listening to LCC Network.
Hey everyone, welcome to Commissioner's Clubhouse and the LCC Network for Week 5, Episode 1, for another excellent show for you guys involving many different things. We've got a lot going on in the LCC and real football right now. And with us today, like always, we've got Jameson and Isaac. How's it going, y'all?
Well, technically, it's not like always because this is my second episode of being back from my hiatus. But what's up, guys?
Hey guys, LCC headlines this week, as always. What we learned, and then we've got a Hail Mary or Hell No section at the end of this episode with regards to some of the new quarterbacks who have taken over the league in the last few weeks, right? So guys, we'll just jump straight in here with a quick sound drop if you guys don't have anything else you want to address before we kick off the show.
Let's do it.
Jameson's mud wrestling tournament has been postponed until the day before Halloween.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
I'm glad we addressed that.
Yeah, it's going to be a Halloween mud wrestling tournament that's taking place here in my backyard.
Okay.
Halloween costume.
Our shirt's optional.
Mud wrestling
Do
tournament.
I have to wear a shirt?
Well,
no shirt. No shirt's mandatory.
Yeah,
no shirt mandatory.
So they're not
Okay.
optional.
I'll make sure. Do I need to take out... Does Isaac need to take out his nipple rings before doing it? That's got to be a
If you're going to wrestle, I would absolutely take out your nipple rings. Or any piercings or otherwise it might hang off your body. Because some of these guys get really, really rough. So...
Okay, yeah, that's a bit much now. So
Take it
moving
all
on
off.
to the fantasy.
And get ready to rumble. All right, we'll kick it off here.
Did you see that The Rock is going back to WWE? SmackDown?
I saw that. Yes, I saw someone mention that.
Yeah, I already bought like $300 worth of pay-per-view for the rest of the year to watch it.
Nice.
Yep.
Make sure you send me that login.
All right, LCC headlines. One team remains winless. Peyton, after all of the building up in the last 2 seasons that we've done with him on the podcast, he is 0-4, but he's still averaging 280 points a game. He's actually been scored on by more than almost anybody in the LCC. So maybe things will break his way in the second half of the season, but he is 4 games behind in the division 4 weeks into the season. So it looks like it might be out of reach for him.
Sound drop.
Which one? The womp 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 or the come on? Man?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the womp womp.
All right. And then 5.
You can't talk about 0-4 team and not do the womp womp womp.
Well, I might be doing a lot more of that here in a minute because we've got 5 1-3 teams, or I guess not 1-3, 5 teams that were playoff teams last year that face a grim reality. Some of these teams have been playoff contenders for multiple years. So we'll start here just because you're the first name on it. Isaac, 3 straight losses, even though you're averaging over 300 points a game. Second in league in points for, right behind Patrick's 331, which is far and away just unfreaking believable. We'll see if that changes. But, outscored every other team on here by a wide margin. So maybe your luck will break the other way, kind of like Peyton's as you move to the
Did you see the outscoring? I just thought that was crazy. I've outscored Kobe, Daquan, and Billy Ray, and those guys are all 4-0. It just shows you that I just played tough teams.
Well, that's actually the narrative for a lot of teams. Colby, hasn't actually scored a ton of points, even though he's 4-0. Billy has not been scored on. He's the second lowest in the league in that regard, even though he's 4-0. Not to
just
say,
wait till this week. Did he bet take that ass to town?
Not to say the team's bad, just saying that, as we go through the season, some of those things are going to regress toward the mean, right? Some of those guys who've been scored on a lot are going to go the opposite way and vice versa. So be prepared for that. I'm right behind you. 3 straight losses, 264 a game, tied with Storm and Cody. Cody. Storm and Cody in points per game. Cody, I'm fine with. Storm, I don't like being in that same conversation. At least over the last.
That was definitely Patrick that put that in there.
That was absolutely
Yeah,
Patrick
that was
put
me.
in there.
That was me.
I cannot hide from how miserable my lineups have been the last few weeks in this league.
Wait, I think you could talk about somebody that's really miserable. This next guy.
Well, Jade is also 1-3, 3 straight losses. So this is a team that he's actually the lowest, one of the lowest. I don't know if he's the lowest. I think he is the lowest team that have been scored on. So that means no.
Oh my God, you're not
on him.
You're not reading. He has the lowest points for in league history between weeks 1 and 4, excluding pre-IDP.
Well, I wanted to get to that. He hasn't been scored on, and he hasn't scored to a point where he's 1-3. And you're right, the lowest in points for league history in the last few seasons. So this is a bad team, guys. Didn't score 200 last week. I don't think he broke 200 another week this year, which is not very good in our scoring format. Cody, 1-3, 2 straight losses, still second in the division ahead of Storm somehow, but it's been a rough start for Cody too. So we all kind of in that boat there with him. And then Mufali, I don't think he really deserves to be here yet, but he was on here. I guess Patrick might have put him on here. 2 straight losses. He's still first in his division, but Mondo has outscored that entire division. Mondo is averaging more than 300 points a game and is actually third in points for, right behind Isaac. Isaac, he scored, I think he's only 4 or 5 points behind you in points for. He's just been beaten.
Yeah, I averaged 308. He does 305.
Yeah,
it's real close.
I put you lose 2 straight games. Your rival in a sense in your division, who's also the same record as who's outscored you. It's just you had a better matchup one week. It's kind of tough, man. I mean, obviously at this point it's anybody's game in that division, just like it was when he was in the Top Shot as North, which I know it's not something he wanted to run into after leaving that division.
Yeah, it's weird to see all these teams struggling out of the gate. Some of these guys will turn it around and make the playoffs, and some of them won't. So it's gonna be different this year to see them at the top of the draft next season. So, any thoughts on that before we move on here to what we've learned in the first 4 weeks?
No, go ahead.
Okay,
let's learn.
Listen, we're gonna learn, everybody. We want to learn you something. So this must be a Patrick question here. Are Cody and Mufali?
All these are Patrick questions.
These are all Patrick questions. I can tell when I look at them. Are Cody and Mufali overhyped in the Top Shot? That's a question that he has here. What are your guys' thoughts before I weigh in?
To some degree, I think we did overhype him. Obviously, I mean, one's 1-3, one's 2-2. It's early in the year; anything can happen. Obviously, but think of it this way: best case scenario for Cody, 9-3. Best case scenario, 10-2 from Mufali at this point. Obviously, more than likely, that's not going to be the case by the end of the season, which means they only have a handful of games where they can make errors in. And look at their schedule and look where it is. They're not in a good place at this point in the season. And it does make me think, did we overhype them to a certain degree?
No, I mean, I still really like their teams. I guess they just had some bad matchups because, I mean, like I said, I like the players. I like what they got going, but Cody's just not scoring for some reason. Only 264. Mufali is, a little bit ahead of him with 278. So, I mean, these powerhouses that normally average over 300 points have kind of fell flat this year. I don't really know if it's overhype or it's they haven't hit their stride yet, which they definitely have time to definitely turn things around and still make the playoffs and win their division.
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, we did say in the offseason, given what was happening in the Top Shotters Conference, Cody would see some regression, right? Now, we still expected him to be a playoff team, but not that he himself would get any worse, just that the other teams would take more of that pie, right? So if they take more, then you get less. And so we expected at least a little bit of this. I am a little surprised at Mufali because I did expect more points going forward, or at least from this point, from what we've seen so far. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to say they're overhyped yet. But I understand your point. It is easy to kind of fall into that narrative in the offseason, right, with what we've seen in the past.
You also have to think Hunter in the past couple of years hasn't scored that many points, but has won that division. So I mean, it's definitely possible that he can still be something. It's surprising when you look at it on paper.
Are you saying Hunter or Mufali? Who are you talking about?
I was saying Hunter. But the past couple of years is just his points for have not been great, but it's his quality of opponents were not great either. So that's why he was winning and getting like 10-2 records the past couple of years. So that's what I'm saying. Mufali, even though he's 2-2 with 278, he's not that far off from where Hunter was a couple of years ago when he still won 9-10 games in a season.
Yeah. I think you got to watch out for Mondo, though, if you're Mufali. I mean, Mondo literally has been scoring on more than almost anybody. If that doesn't happen and it breaks the other way, he could easily be 3-1 or 4-0 right now. So, should we finally stop hyping Peyton up? This kind of feels like Reuben Foster to me, and I don't want to say, I don't know if that's like an insult, like too much of an insult, but I feel like every offseason we're like, come on, Peyton's going to do this, and then we're kind of disappointed. You guys feel the same way?
Yeah. I mean, it's just sad because he's just had some of the most young and
talented rosters.
Exactly. That look like they could beat anybody, but just do not perform with him. I don't get it. I really just don't get it. So, I mean, yeah, I'm just going to stop hyping him up until he proves me wrong.
In all fairness, he has been scored on more than anybody, even Mondo. So he has maybe he just caught some bad breaks week after week, facing opponents that have put up over 300 on him multiple times. I think at least 3 times, maybe 4 times. Is that right, Patrick?
I think everyone he's played has scored over 300.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
That's a tough road.
Go to the next question and I'll look it up.
Regardless, though, when you're 0-4, you're not excited about it. Four games behind the division leader, 2 games behind the wild card right now. That can still change. I do expect it to change, but you got to be a little concerned. Have any of the 2019 drafted rookies been worth their draft value, right? So just to kind of recap some of those kind of the main guys, we're not going to get into every single player, but Devin White, Devin Bush, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Miles Sanders, were these guys worth where they were taken in the draft?
Three of his losses, his opponents had 300+ points, but week 1, Cameron had 293. So just right under.
Yeah, that's close enough.
I mean, basically
right under.
That's close enough. But yeah, so any of these rookies?
David Montgomery just hasn't performed. Miles Sanders is just stuck in that committee, never really going to get the shine. Josh Jacobs is just on a terrible team. Devin White's been hurt. Devin Bush is finally starting to bloom a little bit. For some reason, he was behind Vince Williams on the depth chart, but with Vince out, we saw last night, we're recording this on Tuesday, so on Monday night, we saw him get a sack and look pretty good. So, I mean, I would say he's the only one that's really been worth that pick so far for this year.
38 points per game. He's absolutely the guy that I think is leading the rookie class right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple other guys that were drafted so late in the draft that their value was perfect. Kyler Murray, that was a steal. I mean, he's averaging just over 39 points a game. Devin Bush, like you guys said, he's balling out. Gardner Minshew wasn't even drafted.
Minshew.
He's having a good backup type year, right? If you're wanting a backup QB. But I'll tell you a name right now we haven't mentioned. This is the last player. Cole Holcomb is a guy that no one is talking about right now in Washington, who's had a pretty damn good year. Another guy no one drafted.
He's like averaging 26 points per game. That's below average.
That's good backup
for
numbers.
A linebacker.
That's solid backup.
Well, at that point, there's plenty of Ds that have outscored 30 points.
Well, no, my point
Savage
is,
has done that.
There's some rookies out there that weren't even drafted that, they were a steal in the free agency. But with some of the guys that gave up first round picks and stuff, third-round picks, stuff like that.
I mean, just look at
what's
Darius
worth-
Leonard last year. Darius Leonard last year was undrafted in both rookie drafts and, led all linebackers in scoring.
Yeah.
That was the biggest waiver wire steal of your life last year.
And don't forget, Terry McLaurin has had a pretty good rookie season so far. 34, 25, 28 fantasy points on one of the worst teams in football. So he's someone who might look like a steal, a pickup. So, final question here: Can you win games in the LCC today by solely relying on the regular season waiver wire? I'm going to just start this off by saying I don't think so. If you look at who's there, I mean, what are you going to build your team with? Dre Kirkpatrick and some third string linebacker? Because that's who's on the waiver wire right now. So, I mean, you're going to be hard pressed to do anything significant, barring injury.
Right now, it's slim pickings. I mean, there's not out there. Obviously, unless Saquon Barkley gets hurt and you have to run to Wayne Gallman, or God forbid, knock on wood, Dalvin Cook gets hurt, you have to run for Alexander Madison. But besides that, I mean, you kind of know what you're going to get out of these players, and most of the good players are on a roster right now.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for that. That's it for the kind of what we've learned so far. I'm sure we'll address this again in maybe 4 weeks. You guys think? 2/3 of the season. So just to finish off here, Isaac wanted to discuss some of the Hail Mary or Hail No year of the backup quarterbacks upon us. Are we buying or selling these offenses with these new quarterbacks behind center? Gardner Minshew, the quarterback Patrick can't seem to pronounce right, filling in for Nick Foles. Are we buying him? I mean, are we Hail Marying or are we Hail Knowing him?
I'm saying Hail Mary on Minshew. He's doing pretty good if I'm looking for a backup. I'm not saying you got to go get this guy as your starter. If he's your starter, you're probably Jade and you're probably desperate for a quarterback right now.
He started Kyle Allen last week. I was dying.
Boom. Roasted.
So
Kyle
I would say
Allen?
Hail Mary. Based off that. If you're considering backup, Hail Mary.
I want to preface this by saying it's all relative, right? So don't think because that we say we like this player that we think he's very, very good. Just that he's providing relative value to what we expected from him in fantasy. It doesn't mean that you should go target him or go after him.
He's a potential stream option, but he's not an every week starter. No.
But
I mean,
wait,
real quick. Offense itself, I mean, he's done pretty good with what's around him. Leonard Fournette's been doing pretty good running the ball, catching the ball. D.D. Westbrook's looked pretty good. DJ Chark's looked freaking amazing. So, I mean, yeah, I'm definitely Hail Marying as well.
Andrew Luck retired. Jacoby Brissett filled in for him for the second time. We expected a little bit better coming into the second season, and he's shown that. I believe we're all gonna Hail Mary here, right? We all believe in this offense a little more than we did a few years ago.
Yeah, surprisingly.
I'm
not
higher.
as much, obviously, Luck, but Jacoby Brissett's a really, really good quarterback, and he's putting up, a couple touchdowns a week. And I was really low on their offense after I found out Luck was going to retire. So, and I was definitely wrong about that.
Yeah, Marlon Mack's been okay. A little bit of a down, but he's been okay. Ty, when he's played, has been really good. So we've seen that. A little bit of Eric Ebron. So that's been refreshing. Big Ben, injury obviously in week 1 or 2. I don't remember exactly when it happened. Mason Rudolph filled in for him. Is this an offense that we're buying with Mason Rudolph? So Hail Mary or Hail No?
Hail to the nah, ha, ha, hail to the nah.
I have to agree. And not because I actually like Mason Rudolph. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. But if you guys had to guess, how many passes do you think he threw and completed behind the line of scrimmage last night?
18.
Monday Night Football. No, well, he had 20. He completed 24 passes. So how many of those were behind the line of scrimmage?
18.
Patrick?
18 to 20.
God, guys. Yeah, it was 12. So 50% of his passes were completed behind the line of scrimmage.
Because I heard on the fantasy footballers they said 18.
No, that was within 5 yards.
Oh,
it was actually it was 20. It was 19 or 20 within 5 yards.
Okay.
And it was 12 behind the line, at or behind the line of scrimmage. So I'm going to say no until I can see him throw the ball down the field.
Especially with
Until I
James
see a little more
Conner.
from Juju.
James Conner kind of hurt right now. I mean, Juju Smith has not done nothing. James Washington is not developed at all. Vance McDonald shouldn't be started in this league anyway. So it's like their offense is gone. Would you start Jalen Samuel if Connor goes out? Probably not, honestly, unless you're a Steelers fan or really desperate, like, Jade or somebody that doesn't have a running back.
Yeah, probably not. And it's a shame because I loved Juju and Connor before the season started. But Connor did rebound Monday night, which is good to see, but we'll see what happens going forward. Two other quarterbacks here. We could probably just hell know these guys in one big cluster, I would think. Matt Barkley filling in for Josh Allen, Luke Falk filling in for Sam Darnold. I mean, is there anything about these offenses that we trust without those two guys?
Hell not. No way, dude. Hell no. No
I mean,
way.
John Brown's looked good, but not great now. Devin Singletary's been banged up. Frank Gore, the ageless wonder, is still going to perform. With Singletary supposedly coming back, his value goes down. And on the Jets, I mean, they've been god awful on offense. I mean, even Le'Veon Bell has not been great himself. So, I mean, we're all hell no here.
Yep, hell no here. Kyle Allen, Carolina's hero for the last 2 weeks. This is where we disagree a little bit, actually. So, you guys, what are your thoughts?
With Kyle Allen, here's the deal. Again, if I'm looking for a backup quarterback, Hail Mary. If I'm looking for a starter,
hell no.
Not. And yeah, exactly. Now, in the Panthers offense, though, they're doing all right. I mean, I'm a Christian McCaffrey owner. Obviously, I'm extremely satisfied. And
That's
Greg Olsen owners have been pretty
That's what she said.
I'm extremely satisfied.
Yeah. But no, I mean, there's some other Panther players that have performed pretty good at least. But so, yeah, I mean, with that in mind, I say Hail Mary.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you, Pat, with the Hail Mary. Kyle Allen, he first game out there, threw 4 touchdowns, looked really promising, kind of struggled last week, but still got the W. Like Patrick said in the group chat, it kind of reminds you of a poor man's Jake Delahome. So he's not a guy that I would want to have as a starter, but if, the matchup pending was decent, then yeah, I would definitely stream him if my main quarterback was on a bye. So yes, I am Hail Marying on that team offense.
I'm kind of split either way. DJ Moore's he looked really bad last week. Curtis Samuel's not even rostered, I don't think. Outside of Christian McCaffrey, I mean, I don't know. I'd have to see more. 3 fumbles against the Texans, 14 fantasy points. He lit it up against the Cardinals, but I mean, I feel like anyone could do that. Yeah, anyone could do that. So I don't know. I mean, a healthy Cam Newton provides a lot more fantasy value for these weapons than Kyle Allen does. But we'll see. I need to see more out of him before I'd feel confident.
Healthy Cam Newton as far as what? MVP year or?
A healthy Cam Newton who can run the ball. Because that's how he provides a lot of fantasy value in his dynamic. If he can't run the ball, he doesn't have that edge to him.
Yeah, because his accuracy is terrible.
He's not a pocket quarterback.
He's got arm, but he's just not accurate, unfortunately.
Oh, he's got an arm, but he's not a traditional pocket passer in the sense that what makes him good is the threat that he could move the ball with his legs.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater here. We'll kind of move a little quicker and finish up. I'll start here and say I'm fine with him. Absolutely. I mean, Michael Thomas has been okay. He hasn't busted. Alvin Kamara has been pretty solid in 2 of the 3 games. Actually fantastic in one of the games with Teddy B. This is an experienced veteran quarterback who I think is probably one of the most talented in this list here, and would be a starter if it wasn't for the knee injury that a couple years back. So I'm fine. I'm fine with streaming him.
I would not stream Teddy Bridgewater. He just doesn't seem like himself as far as passing. I mean, obviously, giving it to Kamara or dump offs, really help maybe his confidence. But I mean, Michael Thomas has obviously not been himself without Drew Brees there, but behind Michael, there's nobody. So I mean, I'm just hell knowing this until Brees comes back.
Yeah, I'm with her. I'm with you there. Hell no.
All right, Daniel Jones, we're all Hail Mary on. We're okay with some of these weapons. Wayne Gallman looked fantastic. Evan Ingram's been pretty good. For
Sterling
the most
Shepard.
part. Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate should be back this week, so we'll see what happens. But I think we're okay. We're okay with Daniel Jones, and I think
King
a lot of people. I've heard Manuel Jones as on another podcast. I thought that
You
was
got to
cool.
do, if you want to crown, you got to do that one.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah.
If you want to crown them, then crown their.
And then finally here, Chase Daniel for Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky to me is a hell no. So Chase Daniel is absolutely a hell no. If you guys want to say it on 3.
1, 2, 3.
Hell
nah.
nah.
All right. All right, guys. That's going to be it for the show. We appreciate you guys listening. We're going to go record the second episode so we can get it out to you guys. Anything you want to say before we jump off?
Best of luck to everyone Thursday night. We'll see you Friday.
All right. We'll see you.